it was still a major challenge because when you're portraying real life characters, living or dead, you have to constantly be sensitive to the way it's going to be perceived. Thinking in another language and directing takes 10 times the effort. When you're comfortable in the language, you're just conversing with the actors, something you don't like, you instantly go and you're like, hey, fix that, fix that. So a lot of people think that based on the kind of stuff I've done, and more so back in the days when I was more actively making movies, they thought that, oh, he has a theme, there's something he wants to tell the world. That's never my starting point. It's always the story. One of the most important characters in the show, Amit Verma, played by a truly fantastic actor, Sahil Ved. I was doing the whole first interview praising him with the wrong name. I was calling him Rahul Ved for some reason. There's nothing that I come preconceived, but I've been reiterating at the end of every interview to tell people that told in a very docu-drama style, but it's a true crime thriller. There's nothing else.
I believe you have been giving a lot of interviews. You have shared a lot of things. I want to ask you that what's your very first memory of that incident? Like, I remember I'm a daughter of a journalist and a journalist. So I remember that, the urge to get the copy of the Frontline magazine was solid at home and in the circles because the best coverage was done by Frontline. But I want to ask you, what is your very first memory of this incident? How old were you?
I was 24, living in Dallas. I had just completed my master's in chemical engineering, and I just got my first job. So I had done my master's from Georgia Tech in Atlanta, which is in the southern state of Georgia, and then I had moved to Dallas, Texas, to start my first job. So I'm trying to think. I don't remember exactly the specific moment when the news came out, but uh, I was in the habit of reading the morning news. So that's how you picked it up. It was,
Yeah, obviously.
yeah. So, and I was like, of course, it made world headlines everywhere, and you're like, oh shit. And
Yeah.
but back in the day, which we've also forgotten, we who've lived through that period, is the fact that news didn't need to come so fast all the time
True.
in your face. I mean, events played out the speed at which they played out. So if something like that happens now, every 2 seconds you're refreshing, you're going just nuts, right? So
Yeah.
here you have time to process. And I remember thinking that, my God, that family is truly unlucky. And, you know, I don't know if you watched the first episode, but that line plays out in
I
that.
have.
Yeah.
I have. Yeah.
So that was my memory of the assassination.
Anybody works on something that has actually happened, family members are also there. You have to stick to history. You have to be politically correct also. How difficult it is to deal with a subject like this. It's very. I mean, as a journalist, we are always, under a kind of stress when we are writing about something like this, and then making a show altogether. What were the
Very.
challenges? Yeah.
It's very difficult. I think I'm a glutton for punishment because I always like to do things that I haven't done before. And that's what was exciting when this project first came to me is I was like, oh, I never did anything on true
Yeah.
crime. Let me see how I can adapt this book. So here was the genesis of the whole thing. When Samir Nair at Applause, the head of Applause, when he pitched this to me, I was like, oh, okay. Because his line was simply that it literally, what happens in the 90 days, which is what Anirudhya Mitra's book is about,
Yeah.
it literally plays out like a thriller.
Thriller. Yeah.
It, yeah. And I was very clear right from the get go that I would not do anything political or religious. I don't want to, whatever politics I want to deal with, I'll deal in a fictional
Personally.
space in City of Dreams. And I can, have a good time as a writer, director, do whatever, but I'm not going to wade into, real life politics and given that, it was still a major challenge because when you're portraying real life characters, living or dead, you have to constantly be sensitive to the way it's going to be perceived. Added to that, my first order of business was to make sure that they were portrayed correctly. Added to that, we live in a time where anything can be pulled out of context, and it still could be, right? It
True,
still
true.
could be made into an issue, but it's the danger of the times we live in.
Yeah,
So I have done this to the best of my ability to be as sensitive, to be as correct with it, and not point fingers. Because the camera captures what the SIT did, it also captures what the LTTE did.
true, true.
And I had a balancing act to do, and I think I did right. But let's see. You never know.
Yeah. So as you said that you have never done, earlier the kind of work that you have done, this was the first time that you were dealing with something which was, like true crime and also politics involved. How did you prepare yourself that so that you at least can sleep peacefully at night and you can feel that, okay, I've done a decent job.
Every time I start an interview, I clarify by saying that please understand this is not me wading into the political space because a lot of them are like, how does it feel to do a political thriller for the first time? And it's not. As it pertains to just the subject matter, oh, it gave me a lot of sleepless nights because I was dealing with Hindi on the one side and Tamil on the other. Now, I lived in Tamil Nadu for a while. I went to a boarding school in Tamil Nadu, so I
You know the
speak I speak a little bit
language.
of the language, not anymore. Now my language sucks. Language speaking skills suck, but I can still understand it well. But understanding something and directing something are two very different things because I don't think in Tamil, so you have to think in English and then you translate. So it was arguably the most challenging project that I've done. And there was a lot of days where I would just lie down exhausted because thinking in another language and directing takes 10 times the effort. When you're comfortable in the language, you're just conversing with the actors, something you don't like, you instantly go and you're like, hey, fix that, fix that. Added to that, there are many such things, but the guy who plays Sivarasan, uh, the main
Yeah,
guy, is a Mallu,
main guy.
Shafiq Mustafa. He's speaking Sri Lankan Tamil, which even I don't understand very well. I understand, and neither can he speak that very well, but he's worked hard at it and he's speaking it. And he's a Mallu who only understands Hindi. So I'm directing a Mallu in Hindi to speak correct Sri Lankan Tamil. That's what was going on set.
So, I want to ask that, see, this is not slice of life. This is not a comedy. This is not emotional. It's a very serious SIT investigation drama. Let me just make it a very simple log line for the show. It's an SIT investigation based show overall, right? Directing something like this, it's not some fancy locations, a simple office, safari suit or shirt pant wearing actors. I want to understand as a director, how how do you think to make it interesting enough? Keep the stickiness of the show, while someone is watching now. We watch things on phone also. Okay, you don't want your viewer to just, go to another show or pick up the remote and change things. I was constantly thinking, okay, bhai, how did you do this?
When any director takes on a project, right, he or she is mostly aware that we're going to spend a lot of time on it, right?
True.
So a lot of your choices you have to be so convinced about
Hmm. Hmm.
that you're not questioning it in your head simultaneously while you're doing it.
While working, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's a very self-defeating process. So one thing that I'd made very clear to myself at this show, with the show, was I'm going to strip it down. One of the things that if you look at pictures, even from your own past, let's go to India before we open up our markets for capitalism, right? Let's go to India
Yeah.
before that. One of the things that you see, even in your pictures, in your old photos, in pictures taken on location anywhere, is things were sparse. That was the word I'd like to use. There was never any clutter. I'm sure it's a function of capitalism when we acquire a lot, and even behind me there are like a series of paintings, and I think if I did this interview 40 years ago, there might have been one not so aesthetically correct painting hanging in the back, and that'd be that, right? So when I was making this show, my directive to my entire team, the costume team, the art team, the
Yeah.
cameraman,
Challenging.
more than anyone else, is I should never get the feeling that it's lit. I should get the feeling that someone had a video camera back in the time and they're just shooting with natural light. I should never get the feeling that it's lit.
Yeah.
And he pulls it off magnificently. It's just raw, stripped down. If
True.
any scene was lit, I just look from the monitor and it'd be like, "हाँ ज़्यादा हो गया ना sir? अच्छा ठीक है, give me 5 minutes." So it was like that. So, like you said, the clothes that they wear, they're all muted. There's no
Yeah.
color. Each thing should be true to its background, right?
True.
Because
True. Of
this is,
course.
if you look at pictures of the SIT investigating, this is what they were wearing: white shirts,
Yeah.
gray safari suits.
Pants. Yeah.
Yeah,
Buttons.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
just stuff so not, and I wouldn't allow my costume designer to even bring element of color. And when we did bring it in, we brought it in with some of the LTT characters
Yeah.
because it was kinda interesting to see that people who were in such a difficult headspace to have a little form of expression,
Yeah.
kind of play against the. So we did things like that, but so to answer your question, all the other stuff is just fluff, color, this, that. And if a show can still engage with all this stripped down, almost a docu-drama feel, right? Just completely.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I was going for. So let's see if I achieved it or landed correctly. But yeah,
I always ask this question to a few people where I feel that the answer will, also teach me something. Every project that we associate ourselves with, it changes something in us, or gives us a new perspective, or it may be also. I mean, this one took away your, Raat Ka Neend. But what changed in you after working on this?
there are very few projects that I have not started from the story point of view. I've always believed that um, entertainment should come first. The story should come first. A lot of people think that based on the kind of stuff I've done, and more so back in the days when I was more actively making movies, they thought that, oh, he has a theme, there's something he wants to tell the world. That's never my starting point. It's always the story. Occasionally, there are films like Lakshmi, which I did in 2012, that actually changed me as a person, changed a lot of perspectives I had about the world because of the kind of subject material I was dealing with. Otherwise, when I walk away from a project, it's most times it's just sadness that the project ended, because the joy that I experience in this case 18 months, close to 2 years, the joy that I experience while I'm making it is so overwhelming that once it's done you feel hollow and everything. Having said that, I will tell you this: my approach to almost everything, there are very few times that I will write a villain. Usually I all of my characters I infuse with a lot of humanity
Very
because
humane. Yes,
uh,
true.
yeah, because I'm in that respect, I'm a little old-fashioned. I kind of enjoy words like honesty, and I truly think that love can make the world go round. It can heal, do all those things. So when I write stuff, I can't propel myself to write characters was just bad. Were just bad because they're bad. It might happen with a few psychopaths, and lucky for me, I haven't encountered any. But barring that, most of us, everything is shades of gray. Even when I'm dealing with this with both sides, when the camera's on and I'm dealing with actors who are playing real life characters, like in this one, my direction to them is always the same. Whatever you're doing, you believe in 100%, and which is what the LTT were also doing. So, so
Yeah.
humanity, approach everyone with humanity. So that's one thing that even after finishing the project, I'm like, yeah, I think this echoes with a lot of the way I view the world. So
Is there something that you really want to tell and no one has asked you this that question that you literally wait that koi to pooch le ye mujhe, I want to tell this, a question that you have not been asked but you want to talk about?
one of the most important characters in the show, Amit Verma, played by a truly fantastic actor, Sahil Ved. I was doing the whole first interview praising him with the wrong name. I was calling him Rahul Ved for some reason. Like I said, the prep for stuff like this is so bad. And I'm not on social media. There's nothing that I come preconceived, but I've been reiterating at the end of every interview to tell people that told in a very docudrama style, but it's a true crime thriller. There's nothing else. There's no finger
Nothing.
pointing. The best part about this is people think they know. Yeah, yeah, oh yeah, yeah, the Rajiv Gandhi assassination. Oh yeah, yeah. No, the
Yeah.
kind of stuff that the book reveals and what we dramatized and actually eventually made. When I was filming that 100 times, if not less, I turned to my team and say, "Can you believe that that actually happened? Not exactly the way we are dramatizing it, but that the ridiculousness, fact being stranger than fiction, that happened." So that is one thing that I'd like to always tell the viewers before I sign off. But okay, I'll share this with you, which is kind of fun. Um, so I'm shooting. Okay, I've not shared this with anyone. This is hilarious, actually. So I'm shooting a scene between Delta Supremo Prabhakaran and Sivarasan.
The officer.
Sivarasan. So it's the two of them in this scene. And LTT Supremo, who played the LTT Supremo? I should know this. Damn. I even texted him a few days ago. But anyway, the actor playing Prabhakaran and uh, the other actor is Shafiq, who's playing Sivarasan, one of the main characters. Now, both the actors are Malus. Both are playing Sri Lankan Tamils. Okay, the Sri Lankan Tamil is very different from the regular Tamil. I'm directing. I usually like to give all my instructions in English. That's my first language of communication. It comes the easiest to me. There are some actors who don't understand English well. I'll lapse into Hindi. I'll direct them. Not an issue. So the scene gets underway. Now the two of them are talking to each other in Sri Lankan Tamil, which I don't understand very well. So I have someone here, and periodically I turn to him and I'm like, did they get the lines right? I'm directing them. And then anyway, we call cut, and now I have to give them direction and explain what needs to be done. So I run over. Shafiq can understand only Hindi. Shafiq
Okay.
can't understand English. So I have to break the whole scene down to him in Hindi. The other actor can understand only English. He can't understand Hindi. So I have to re-break the whole scene down to him in English. And the two of them can only talk to each other in Malayalam. And I don't understand Malayalam. So after I do individual breaking the scenes down, they are talking to each
Talking to
other.
each other.
After I do this, you do that, and then I don't know what the hell. I'm like, time out, time out. What the hell are you telling him? So we have to get. It was, I mean, this was on day 3, and I was like, oh, only another 63 odd days to go.
Oh my
Joyous.
goodness.
Yeah, yeah. So on set, it was borderline. I mean, it was something out of a freaking Stanley Kubrick film, but yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but
Fun.
it was a challenge. So
Yeah. Fun of the challenge or the, I don't know.
no,
It's
the beauty about the engineer in me is you get the job done. You don't. I mean, There's no whining. There's no, yeah, of course, when you're in the heat of the moment, there's a lot of shit that's going to go
Of
wrong,
course.
but
Of course.
you just get that's the saying that I have before I begin every shoot. Uh, Either you do or you don't. The rest are all excuses. But either you do or you don't. So,
That's a lovely message.
yep.
It works for everyone. Either you do it or you
Yeah.
don't. That's true.
And it's not deep and अरे इसको इसमें layers है कुछ नहीं है
सोक्रेटिस के बाद आप ही हैं, बट उन्होंने काफी लंबा कहा। आपने यू जस्ट सेड इट। इट इज नॉट अबाउट टू बी और नॉट टू बी, इट इज अबाउट टू डू और नॉट टू डू।
not to do बस उतना ही exactly
True, true. So
yeah.
before I let you go, I'm sure that once the show is out, people are going to binge watch it. What is it that do you watch? Or you don't watch a lot, you read. If you're reading, what are you reading?
I would love to read more, but I hate to admit it uh, that over the years this stupid short attention span has gotten to me also. But no, it's not that I'm binge watching TikTok videos or anything like that. We haven't reached that stage of madness.
Some show you must be watching, like some
I do.
series.
I do a lot. As a matter of fact, anything that HBO puts out is usually my best stuff. It was the
Okay.
main reason that I got into the web series space in the first place. I've been pitching shows to a couple of people in LA for the last 15 years, even before the OTT space came here, with absolutely no luck. I've been wanting to get into this long format space for a very long time.
Yeah.
So I love anything that HBO puts out. The most recent one that I completed, which is Apple, not HBO, is season 1 of Severance. And for me, that is like, oh wow. So you look at it at a script level, it's smart, it's intelligent, but this is one of those cases where direction supersedes the writing. Doesn't
Yeah.
happen often, but when it does, it's something so joyous because what Ben Stiller did with season 1, the tone that he set is just something else. It's extraordinary. That's the thing that most recently blew my mind. I I do read a fair bit. Uh, I just finished a book that a friend of mine gave me. How we lived through communism and even laughed by Croat writer, who's a very famous journalist. But now my true guilty pleasure is this year I'm reading all 7 volumes of Game of Thrones. Movies, one of my guilty pleasures, and I watch it all the time, action films. I can't get enough of it. Yeah. Like, for example, Mad Max Fury Road, I've seen it, I don't know, about 20 times, 20, 25.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't get bored of that film. I think it's art in its highest form. And to survive tiny little cooped up spaces in Mumbai is to work out. So that's what I do
Working
a
out here
fair
or
bit.
working out here. That's all.
No, working out here.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
If you're not writing and actively production, otherwise
Yeah.
get your ass to a gym or
Yeah.
anything else in your own home. So
So writing, directing, acting also. When are we
yo,
going to see you next on screen?
one digression was Patal Lok, which I did, and it's
Yes, we loved it.
done and dusted. But nothing on the horizon. Nothing that anyone's pitched to me, or when I kind of act in stuff that I make, there's a much easier sense. But Patal Lok was the first time that in an established show I was on someone else's set, and then the one thing I tell my actors, and with irritation when they don't remember lines, is all you have to do, the least you have to do, sorry, not all, the least you have to do is remember lines. And then on Patal Lok, I kept flubbing lines, take after take after take.
Oh,
And I was like, this is the curse of every single actor
karma,
that
karma.
I. Exactly. comes full circle to bite you in the ass. So, yeah, that's what happened.
સબસ્ક્રાઇબ કરો ગુજરાતી મિડ ડે. બેલ આઇકોન પર ક્લિક કરીને મેળવો તમામ વિડીયોના ડાયરેક્ટ નોટિફિકેશન.